Hey everyone, Dan here. Before we get into it, if you enjoy these videos, please hit the like and subscribe button. And keep in mind that these are my own thoughts, opinions, and ideas. These are not meant to be, nor should you take them as investment or trading advice in any way, shape, or form. Do your own due diligence, put in the work for yourself, and make your decisions based on that. Enjoy. All right, folks, here we are on Thursday, February 1st. We're going to take a look at AMZN with earnings coming up. I thought we'd check and see if it does bump up higher, if it does pull back, what some support and resistance levels might look like. That said, keep in mind, these things can always go flat. So it can sort of put out the report and folks can go, okay. And it could go wild for a little bit after hours and then just sort of flatten out and be relatively a whole lot of nothing. But keeping that in mind, the levels that I put in on the chart were the ones that I felt were the strongest. That said, there's some big gaps in between some of them. And so there's going to be levels in between, but just, these are the ones that I felt were sort of dominant. 159.01, which is, where it's sort of struggling to hang on today. We'll see how that plays out, but if it can capture that 159 level and actually get support and, get to that 160, then to me that puts sort of 165.38 into play. Of course, it's going to have to contend with this recent swing high of 161.73. So it has sort of like a little sticky spot there because I would anticipate this 159.01 and then I would anticipate 160 to just be sort of a psychological level. Maybe not the strongest, but still, it's the $10 increment might be something. And then the recent swing high of 161.73, and then, I could see it cracking open the door to 165.38. So sort of seems like a sticky zone in there, and it might act as a zone because, those levels, it going in increments of $1, $2, $3 in that range for a stock in the mid 150s or high 150s, it's too small of a percentage to really have it be like, devastating or really earth-shattering movement-wise. So I think it's probably just going to be a zone there from like that swing high shy of 162 down to this 159 level. So we'll see how it handles that zone 159 to 162 and then see if it can unlock potential for 165.38. If it pulls back, 156.21, 153.12, and then 148.16. If it really keeps chugging and pulls back 143, and then, there's a bunch of levels in between here, but this is just sort of a marker that I had that I left at basically, say, 120. So we'll see how it handles all of those and where it goes. But even if it moved relatively sideways, there's some good levels in here that it could kind of hang on to, and then, determine which way it wants to go in the coming days and weeks. Now, on the think or swim side of things, we had a trigger and a fire here that played out really nicely. It was triggering as it was sort of dangling on the mid-range of the channel, and then we got the counter move down, and then when it fired, it really lifted off from about 125, 126, and brought it up to, about high 140s, and then it triggered again while it was situated just above the mid-range of the channel, and then it fired as it was moving or sort of hovering up, and then you got a strong move down to the lower bound, but then an immediate recovery back to the upper bound, retested the mid-range, and then has been pushing the upper bound ever since, and now yesterday and today coming down to retest the mid-range of the channel. So sort of an interesting sort of roller coastery kind of motion here perpetually, like this one, right? The counter move down and the big move up, then the counter move down, or not a counter move down, but a move downward to the lower bound and then upper bound, mid-range, upper bound. So not a whole lot as of late of action on the lower bound of the channel. So I'm interested to see if it's able to continue that posture, stay strong through the mid-range of the channel and continue to push higher and higher, even if it just sort of bats itself between the mid-range and the upper bound like we saw here and like we've seen here as of late as well. Histogram not doing anything remarkable. Also, TTM squeeze indicator not re-triggering yet, or not triggering again yet. We'll see how that plays out. But we do see sort of a nice three-wave motion here where it was pretty smooth up-down on the histogram, and then just a brief little up-down, spent a bit of time at the baseline, and then up and now sort of coming down a little bit. We'll see if the reaction to earnings throws that sort of motion in all askew, if you will, or if it's sort of continues on a relatively symmetrical path like we saw here and we saw here. All right, folks, I hope that your trading week has been going well, and as always, I appreciate you watching, and I will see you in the next video.